those around me, any situation that I may be in. I welcome the universe to be a part of it and to guide me. Got my head right. Talk about how do you get your head right. Well, you sit there for a couple seconds, take some nice deep breaths down and feel it coming into you, and then feel it exhaling is the best way I can explain it. Give your prayer up to divinity, what deity, God, goddess, or just to the universe in general. All right? Don't worry about all those little details, I think is what folks get lost in. And that is what we're going to talk about. I'm going to start out by saying hello, hello, hello to all of my Crossroads witches and other interesting magical beings. Mwah! Thank you. Thank you for your support for the past 5 years. Thank you as I've gone through this bit of a transition period here. With my own personal life and realizing where I need to be. It's like you stand in that crossroads and you're realizing, no, it's time for me to turn this way. And that's what I've done. I have been working really diligently on the storybook barn, on this apartment you see me sitting in. It will be available for short-term rental if you're coming to the Charleston, South Carolina area. I will be leaving more information about it. And at the end of this video, I've got a couple of little extras as far as me working around the barn. Because a lot of times folks are like, thinking, oh, you're witchy all the time. And I'm like, sweetie, I never stop being a witch, but sometimes I'm a house cleaner as well. Sometimes I'm a painter. I'm currently doing caulking. I'm always a witch. I'm always magical. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. And that's what you need to remember about your own personal lives. It is not a turn on and off. You are always magical. You are always witchy. You are always an interesting magical being. It's not an on and off button. It's how you choose to engage in that awareness. So now that I've gone completely off topic and I'm going to come back around again, I can't even find a segue for this section. So I'm just going to give a little chit chat on, are you overthinking your magic? Well, if you're watching this video, you probably are. All right? I overthink my magic. First, let me give that little statement out there. I ain't going to sit here and call out folks that I'm telling you what I've done. All right? This is one witch's opinion, one witch's perspective. I have over 40 years in the magical community. I am a high priestess. The House of Witchcraft has several covens underneath it. So with that said, and I have a stack of books. I feel qualified for this. Plus I've watched a couple of YouTube videos. I went to YouTube University, so I feel really qualified. All right, that's just being a little bit snarky, and I ought not to. But you find out that for a lot of us that have been in community, our lives have been magical for decades at a time. We have a sense of humor about it, all right? Where I find the seriousness is in the next generation, our new novice witches and other magical beings who are coming into community. Y'all are just too serious. That's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to start with the fact, please stop with thinking you need more knowledge, that somehow you need to learn more, all right? You don't. What you need is experience. What you need to do is be getting out and doing it, all right? It is not a knowledge problem. It is an action problem. And you're froze in the idea that you don't know enough. I don't care. I've met some folks. I have met some powerful witches, root workers, conjurers, all sorts of different interesting folks, and which do not read books. Where do they get their knowledge from, huh? Experience. That's where they get it from. And they also work within an oral tradition where they're in a group, they're listening, they're seeing what other people are doing, and they're incorporating that into their practice. Books do not equate to knowledge. They do, but they don't. They don't equate to that experience, action knowledge. They create static knowledge, just this knowledge. It just sits there, all right? I mean, I'm full of useless knowledge myself because I love to read books. If you ask me about what happened, 3,000 years ago, I can have a full-on discussion. If you ask me what happened 3 days ago, I'm probably going to stare at you with, I forgot. So, yes, knowledge is good, but you reach a point where the knowledge doesn't matter. What matters is the action, all right? More information will not solve it. Action will. Stop, put the books down. I'm an author. I've written several of them. I'm a best-selling author. My books are great for inspiring, encouraging, and empowering, but they do not give you the experience of standing under a full moon. They do not give you the experience of working an altar. They do not give you the experience of tuning in to seasonal shifts of energy. And they damn sure don't give you the knowledge about you. Because that's ultimately where your magic is coming from, is you. The most important people in the room are me, myself, and I. And you need to say that out loud. You are the most important person in the room, all right? Whether, 1,000 are all by yourself, but to believe in yourself is what I'm saying. Believe in your intuition. Believe in your magic. Believe that you are the magic, all right? So that's number one. Number two, slow down. Y'all, slow down. You want it now, now, now. Microwave oven magic. You feel like you have missed out, you're behind the 8 ball, and you got to just get it all, and I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And then you start getting all worried about these expectations you've put on yourself because you've decided you're a witch. Now you're going to do every moon, every solstice, every equinox, the feast days of your patron gods and goddesses, and you're not doing it. And so now you're going to sit there and on yourself, all right? And this would have all been prevented if we had just slowed down a little bit, got more realistic in our expectations, and started working a daily practice with small things incorporated, small magical tidbits. I often talk about the fact when I get up in the morning, one of the very first, I make a cup of coffee, and then after that, I stir it magically 3 times. I stop. It doesn't matter what's going on. I don't care if the barn's on fire behind me, all right? I'm going to, for one, and I'm going to do my 3 stirs, and then I will go put out that fire, and then I will go deal with this. But it sets me up for my day. And sometimes it's an affirmation. Sometimes it is talking myself down over I'm upset about something. I wake up and I'm still thinking on it. Y'all know what I'm saying. You're marinating and mulling it. And I have to stop and I'll be like, Taren, this is a new day. And that may be all I'm doing. Taren, this is a new day. And I'm stirring it 3 times. All right. And how many times you stir or whatever your morning ritual is, it is so important to start having morning, daily rituals, an evening ritual, depending, again, your schedule. Be realistic, all right? This is where we put these expectations on ourselves, and then when we don't meet the expectation, then we beat ourselves up for it. In reality, it was an unrealistic expectation to start with, all right? Lower yourself. You are going, if you are meant to be in a group, you're going to meet a group. If you are going to get out there, you're going to meet people. You are going to have all of those experiences, those knowledge bases and everything. Just slow it down. And it's okay if you aren't out every full moon. Some full moons for me are with a coven and it's a full-blown affair. Other times it's me sitting on my porch you know, sipping on some sparkling water, lighting a candle and being like, it's a full moon. Yeah. And that's it. As long as I acknowledge it, I'm good. All right? I learned a long time ago to lower my expectations of myself. And I found when I did that, I also started looking at other people with more grace, kindness, and understanding because I was giving that to myself first. There's a witchy tidbit. All right. Number 3. This is the one where these y'all, for those y'all know, I have notes. If you're new, I always write down, I'll sit there and I just jot down and then I come and shoot a video. I wrote down, not creating the world's greatest ritual ever done. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people there, it has to be perfect. It's got to be the world's greatest ritual we've ever seen. And nothing's going to go according to plan. Stay in the moment. And the most effective, most powerful rituals, experiences I've been in are the most simple ones. I'm not going to say I don't love all the pageantry. I don't love some of the theatrics. I have been to some rituals where it was a full-blown theatrical event with a spotlight and with drums over here and a fog machine over here and woo! And it was exactly that. It was a theatrical experience and I really appreciated it. Did I get that ooh feeling off of it? Well, a little bit. Where I really got the ooh feeling off of it is I can remember one night there was 5 of us sitting around the bonfire, and the bonfire had gone down for the evening, and we had done, I think it was like, what was it? It was last year, so it probably would have been like spring equinox or something. And we had done a little celebratory, but then after that, we sat around the fire and we started talking, and you could feel that magical energy shifting on us. And we started a very impromptu, powerful cleansing, let it out, where we were speaking our aggravations, we were speaking our fears, our frustrations, we were just giving it to the fire to burn out. And like, this was impromptu. We didn't have any of this planned, it just happened. But the 5 of us ended up with a chant, and then we got up and we danced around and everything. And I remember walking away from that with a serious, ooh, some magic just happened right there feeling. All right. And how powerful, I mean, I'm speaking about it a year and a half later. That's how powerful this ritual, this experience, this working, whatever phrase you want to call what I was doing. But that's how powerful it was that I still can sit here and be like, oh yeah, that was a good night. All right. That's what a good ritual is when you connect. That's what a good working is. That's what a good invocation is when I am, invoking or evoking. I know there's some with folks which are like, no, we don't do it that way. Either or, whatever works for you. All right. But when I'm saying that prayer and I'm feeling that energy just come into me, again, some of the most powerful moments I've had are so impromptu. And some of the cool big rituals that we had a committee, we planned it out, we brought props, and it was a great experience. And I'm not going to say that, no, I don't enjoy it, but it didn't tingle my toes. So my first thought on this is you cannot plan the perfect ritual. It's going to happen one day. And I guarantee you that Southern guarantee, but it's going to happen. This is back to the first thing I was talking about, experience, get out and do it, action, action, action. Do a feast day up. And I know many of us are solitaires. So, I talk about these group experiences. You can have those same experiences in a solitaire environment. You can do a feast day. Invite a couple of your friends over and just tell them you're happy and you're cooking. Or if you're open, tell them that, I'm doing a Hecate feast day. If you're just keeping it to yourself, go into your kitchen and stir your food and do all of your food while bringing in Hecate's presence and serve it to your family and don't tell them anything. There are so many ways we can do things. It's about being creative and not thinking that we have to be standing out in this ritual as a ritual. Some of our most powerful magic is done in the home, when we're in the kitchen, when we're in our bathrooms, because shower magic, bath magic, that's some powerful stuff right there. But this is about to keep it simple. Don't worry about the perfect ritual. It will happen, but you have to be out doing things in order for it to happen. All right, next one. Oh, this one I love because I had talked with someone about this, that allow yourself to suck. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Forgive yourself. Kindness, grace, and dignity, those are things in which we have to bring within ourselves and we have to show to ourselves, all right? Yes, you're gonna mess up. You know what that just means? You found one way not to do it. You just learned something that you're like, hey, next time we're gonna do it this way. Next time I need to do it like this, all right? We have to get out there and make mistakes so that we can learn what to do and what not to do. It's not about getting out and you're perfection and I'm going to do it right. And if it's not done right, then it's just not going to work. All right. Again, back to some of the best workings I've done were so impromptu, so off the cuff. I wandered around my house getting things together and was like, all right, this is what we're going to use. And gosh darn, if that didn't turn into some powerful work. And as opposed to this planning it out, you know, and I'm always going to tell folks, do not do it exactly as it's written in the book. Put a piece of yourself in it, some way, somehow. And even as a new person, I know that's a little scary. You're like, off script, off script. Stop. Take that breath. And what do you need to put into it so that it's yours? Do you need to change the words? Do you need to change some of the ingredients? Do you need to change it a little? Yes, you do. You need to personalize it. You need to make it yours. You need to put your tag lock, your essence of self into the working somehow, some way. So I love the books. I'm not going to say, again, I keep saying yes books, no books, yes book, no books. Because it's about that balance of when to open them up and when to put them down. And you found a spell, an incantation, working in a book, on a website, even on me, you're listening to me talk, and you're like, oh, I'm going to do that. Stop and put yourself into it. Don't do it the way I did it. I'm doing my magic, all right? And I love it when people are inspired by my magic. But my magic is not your magic. Your magic is yours. So grab a hold of it. Make it yours. Be the chef in the kitchen. Taste it. And you'll be like, no, I like a little more garlic. No, I don't want as much salt. Ooh, I like mine a little spicy. Ooh, I don't like mine as spicy. Those are the questions within magical context that you need to be asking yourself and making it yours. Let's see, what else do I have down here? Oh, this is this good little note that I wrote down because, again, I was talking to someone else about that. Regrets in life are often what we didn't do. I wish I would have done that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't give yourself a regret. Go out and do it. And it is going to be scary. It is going to be uncomfortable and you're not going to get it right. Hey, we've all been there. All right. I've already done all those and sometimes I still do them. Even after 40 years of stirring on a cauldron, I walk in and I'm like, oh, I forgot the spoon. Who forgets the spoon when you're stirring a cauldron? I did. Hey, it happens. All right. And what did I do about it? I went and got a spoon. What do you do about it? You go and take care of what you need to, all right? And I know within different magical systems, some are like, oh, you know, you once sacred space is set, you can't break it, all right? And if that's how you feel about it, then that's how you should honor it. And make sure that you have all your stuff together before you set your circle. For many of us, especially within the folk witch community, we sort of believe that you can move in and out of it as long as you're mindful of it. We don't quite have those high ceremonial tones. So if I've set my space and I'm over here and I've said my words and then I'm like, I forgot parchment paper. No big deal. I just get up, walk over, get my parchment paper, wherever it may be, come back, sit down, take those couple of breaths, do that grounding, get myself back in tune, and then continue on with whatever I'm doing. All right? It's not a big deal. Okay, now we're going to turn the page because I got more of them. With the, oh, this one is where I was talking a little earlier about realistic goals, but it's about having a plan of action and not looking at your results as a pass or fail, but looking at your results as how can I improve upon it for next time. There is no such thing as failure and magical workings when we're trying. Or at least this is my thoughts. As I said at the beginning of the video, this is my perspective. But if you're doing it, you're doing it. And it may not turn out as well as you thought it did this time, and it's giving you a basis so that next time I'm going to do it a little different. Or it may turn out really, really well, and you're like, damn, I hope I can do that again. Is sometimes my problems where I'm like, wow, that worked really well. I'm going to have to step my game up to do that one again. But do not be results driven. Sometimes, especially when you're doing spell work, incantations, workings where you're wanting to have obstacles removed and you're like, oh, it didn't work. I still had obstacles. Not true. Those obstacles are still there, but there were other obstacles that were removed, all right? There's just more obstacles than what you realized. A lot of times you're like, oh, it didn't work. And I'm like, well, yeah, it did work. It just didn't work the way you expected it to, the way you anticipated it to, the expectation that you put on it. Remember we talked about we're gonna, no expectations. Bad, bad, bad. All right? Lower your expectations and enjoy yourself. And have fun. Stop thinking and start doing. And like I said, start with small rituals, daily practice. Every time you take a shower, have an affirmation that you use in this shower. You know, if you are wanting to really step up your game with a sacred space, with your invocations, take the time to memorize one or two so that you can bring it up, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Where, you know, I have 4 different ways of creating sacred space. I have a circle cast, I have a crossroads opening, I have a spiral in, and then I have a dance in silence. And when I'm doing those invocations, those are completely memorized prayers that I use, that the words have become so familiar to me that it is like grabbing a blanket and putting it on. It is how I connect to divinity. It is how I welcome the divine feminine, because for me, I'm very much about the goddess, the divine feminine into my space with a prayer that I've taken the time to memorize. I've taken the time, it's not that I've learned it, it's that I feel it. And when I start speaking those words, you know, and a lot of times when I'm in the shower is where I'm in there doing my invocations. First, it's good practice, and second, water magic is just freaking powerful. Where I'm having those moments of connection. And enjoy yourself. is my biggest thing. Again, I think that, you know, people overthink their magic. It freezes them up. They think it's in the next book, and it's not. And so I hope this inspires all of you to put down the books, to start doing things daily, and of course on those full moons, if that's what you're vibing on, you know, then in some way you acknowledge it. And that's all you got to do. And that way, anything you do above that, you're like, I am rocking it. I did it. Woo! You know? So I hope this helps. And like I said, at the end of the video here, I've got a couple of interesting little things that we filmed here around the barn. Of course, hit the subscribe, hit the like. And if you really like me a lot and you bought one of my books, could you leave a review on Amazon? That weird algorithm over there is not kind, but reviews are one way of Amazon, like not putting us on page 180 type thing. So please leave a review for any of my books that you may have purchased. If you're like, oh my gosh, Taren, you have books? Yes, I do. You can go over to Amazon, type in Taren S, T-A-R-E-N-S, and order a couple of my books. It would be very appreciated, not to mention the fact I think they're full of great useful knowledge. All right, y'all. You know it never changes. It's always the same. Get out there, fly those brooms, have a bright, blessed day. And as always, amen, blessed be, ashe, and a bobo. When I tell folks that my husband and I bought 5 acres to develop into a short-term rental site in the low country right outside of Charleston, it sounds so sexy until you realize what developing a site really means. See behind me? Every board, and it's also over there, and it's on the other side. Look, goes all the way up. Every board has to have sealant put between it. Chinking, I think, is what somebody told me I was doing. And I was like, 3rd day into it, and yeah, I sort of am enjoying it, but yeah, it's sort of a bit of a chore. But when we talk about I'm gonna go do this and I'm gonna homestead, I'm gonna get me some acreage and I'm gonna do, people need to realize that you're working 6, 8, 10-hour days, depending on your chores, the weather, and all sorts of factors. But you're up every morning with a to-do list. And, and if that's something you enjoy, it's my husband and I very much enjoy. This is our 3rd big project. This is by far the biggest we've taken on. So I feel like we've sort of prepped for it, if you know what I mean. But a lot of times folks come on site, after all this has been done, after this has been painted and beautifully decorated, and stand there with, oh, this is so beautiful, and not really understanding the actual hour work that got put into it, my husband and I can't afford to have a crew come out on site every day and do everything that needs to be done. We took it on knowing that sweat equity was going to pay us back, and that we had to put sweat equity into it. And we researched the property, we researched the area. We did a lot of things, and when this came available, we knew, sort of, I think, the reality of what we were stepping into. Yes, things are taking twice as long, and yes, some stuff is costing twice as much, but other things are working out really well, and we're like, oh, good on us, that worked out. So it's really looking at the long term, not getting overwhelmed, disillusioned in it, but just keeping your project small and moving forward. For the next week, this is what I'm doing. And like I said, I'm not going to say I'm enjoying it, but I'm not going to say it's the worst thing I've ever done. All right, y'all keep on keeping on. Bye.